Hi, welcome back to A Better You. I'm your host, Cynthia Thompson, and I have a dear friend with me today. Her name is Melissa Knicely. Melissa is with the Charlotte-Mecklenburg Animal Control Center here in Charlotte, North Carolina. Thank you for joining me today, Melissa.
Thank you for having me.
You know, Melissa, I'm so glad you're on my show because I got a dog from Animal Control.
Yay.
And his name is Samson. He's a little pug chihuahua, and I've had him for, I think, 6 years now. So I'm so glad you're here so that you can share with my viewers what all you do, because it's more than just adopting pets.
Right. We have a lot of things people don't know about, so we're glad to be here today so that I can talk about some of the stuff we can do.
You know, one of the main questions I have for you, I've often wondered, why is Animal Control along with the police department? Why are they together?
Well, it kind of goes back in history way before my time of being there, but it used to be separate. And then a number of years ago, they decided that it would be more streamlined to fall underneath the police department. And we actually fall under support services underneath the police department.
Oh, because when I went by there the other day and I said, Animal Control and police? But that makes sense because you're there to protect the citizens.
It is, and that's, you know, part of what we do is to protect the citizens. So that's a big part of what we do is public safety.
I have a couple questions for you. What are some of the things Animal Care and Control, what do they do for the citizens and for the animals here in Charlotte?
Well, for the animals, you know, obviously we are the municipal shelter for Mecklenburg County, which means by law we're bound to accept all animals that come through our doors. And what that means is a little bit different than, say, humane societies and rescue groups and that sort of thing, because when they're full, they're full. But by law, we're always open. We always have room. And that's why we get a lot of animals every year come into our shelter. Animals can come into our shelter, and they can be stray animals that someone has found running along, and we don't know who they belong to, or they can be owner-surrendered animals where possibly somebody has come upon hard times or something that is caused in their life that they can't no longer keep their pet for whatever reason. And so those are the two different types of animals we accept, stray or you know, owner surrender.
Well, you think Animal Control, you think you only accept dogs or cats. Do you have other animals there?
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm glad you asked because people always associate us. A lot of times it's the dog catchers, and we're the folks who, you know, write tickets when your dog's loose and stuff like that. But there's a whole other side, you know, that we're here to talk about today is the community outreach we do and the types of animals that we have for adoption. And so what's unique about it is it's not just cats and dogs, but we have a room that's called the exotic room.
Exotic room,
and you can come visit at the shelter, and you never know what you're going to see in there. For instance, we were at the Nature Museum this weekend for a little thing they had out there for the kids. We took a bunny, we took a ferret, we took 2 rats. But at any time you come into our shelter, we can have fish, iguanas, alligators. The most crazy thing I've seen is a hedgehog.
Here in Charlotte?
A hedgehog, yes.
Okay.
So, you know, what I like to tell everyone is, you know, if you're looking to add like a furry critter to your house, or even schools sometimes adopt from us, come check us out because we have hamsters, gerbils, rats, guinea pigs. We have, and we never know what we're going to have, but it's always fun to come in the exotics room.
Wow. So what is the process for adopting an animal if a person wanted one? I know the process because I have one from you, but share with my viewers, if by chance they wanted to adopt one of your animals, what do they need to do?
Well, it's really a unique program, and we offer on-site adoptions at the shelter, and we're at 83115 Byram Drive. We're the shelter that's over by the airport, and there's great blue signs that lead you right there. We also do off-site adoptions. The reason we do off-site adoptions is because a lot of people find it very sad to come into the kennels and to see all the animals in cages, and they want to take them all, and they know they can't take them all.
That's what happened to me the other day.
So, yeah, it is. It's very hard not to want to take them all. So a lot of people are more comfortable coming, and we're at South Park Mall every first Saturday of the month. They host us there, and we have over 30 animals in that mall every first Saturday of the month.
That is good to know.
But if you are looking to add a pet to your family and you want to come and check out the animals at the shelter, I highly encourage to adopt a homeless animal because there are so many. So come see us. If you live in Mecklenburg County, if you have pets already, there's a couple things you need to know. If you already have pets, we need to make sure that they're registered with a pet license from Mecklenburg County. You can buy that the day of the adoption if you don't have that. What's required for that pet license is proof of a current rabies vaccination for your pet. Rabies vaccinations are a state law. And they need to be for cats, dogs, and for ferrets, actually. So if you have any of those types of pets at home, we're going to have to make sure that they have a rabies. And the other thing is that if you want to come and you rent, you need to bring proof of the fact that you can have
animals at your apartment or
exactly.
house.
And the reason we do that is because a lot of people think, oh, my landlord's not going to mind. Guess what? The landlord minded, and guess what? The animal's coming back. So we do that just to keep the dogs and cats from coming back again. But it's a very simple process. The prices range from $80 to less than $100. You can get a new pet for your family. It comes microchipped, spayed and neutered, all the shots are updated. It's a great deal.
It really is if you think about it, for a new pet. So when a person picks out their favorite dog that they see that they have to take home, do they have to fill out an application? Is there a waiting period that they have to wait?
No, as long as we look them up in the system and make sure all their pets are updated, if they have any. If they don't have any and they don't live in Mecklenburg County, then it's not as hard of a process. It's pretty easy. We just want to make sure, we ask that everybody, think about adding a pet to your family. When you do take it seriously, make sure you're ready for that kind of commitment, because as you know, being a pet owner, it's a lot of responsibility.
It really is.
And so we ask people to breed research as well, especially with dogs, making sure that type of breed, what type of exercise they may require, what size they are, that's going to fit your lifestyle. Because the last thing you want to do is adopt a pet and then say, you know what, it needs too much exercise, I don't have time, I need to bring it back. So otherwise we'd say get a goldfish maybe.
You mentioned earlier that you can come to the animal shelter, the animal control center. You have the first Saturday at South Park where they can come and view animals. Can they go on your website?
Absolutely, and I'm glad you mentioned that because we've been working really hard the last few weeks on updating our website. And our website, the easiest thing to do is to go to www.cmpd.org, and if you scroll all the way to the bottom, there's a quick link that says Animal Care and Control. You click on that and it takes you to our section of the police website. You can view all of the animals that are available for adoption. And the biggest thing is a nice reminder to everyone is if your pet is lost, come see us right away or check on that website right away. It updates every hour. It updates and refreshes. So anytime we're getting new animals in, if your pet's lost, it's going to be a picture of it on our website.
So do you all do anything special for the animals? You mentioned before that you give them their shots and you make sure they have the rabies shot, which is very important. Do you also spay and neuter them too?
Absolutely. It's mandatory that any animal that's in our shelter that leaves via an adoption is mandatory spay neuter. And obviously the reason behind that is because there are way too many homeless pets. How many pets do you think come into, or animals, maybe not all pets, but there is an amazing number. People are astounded by the number. We are roughly right around 19,000 animals that come through our shelter doors every year.
Oh, really?
19,000. And
so you spay and neuter to make sure that they don't have more.
Right, and we try to get that number down. The only way we can make that number go down is by spaying neuter. And that's one of the services we offer. So there's no excuse not to get your pet spayed or neutered because guess what? We do it for free.
You do it for free?
We do it for free.
Do you do it on special days for free, or do you need to make an appointment to come in?
There's an appointment that's needed, but if you're a Mecklenburg County resident, listen to what we can do for you. We can give you a free rabies shot the second Saturday of every month. We're busy on Saturdays.
I see.
Second Saturday of every month we do free rabies. We will do 300 people will come through on a Saturday to get their animals free rabies shots. We also do free spay neuters, and you sign up with an application that you can download right off of our website. There is a waiting list for that because obviously it's a service that is really needed.
And it's free too.
And it's free.
So there will be a waiting list.
There is a waiting list. And we also offer people who have lost their jobs or stumbled upon hard times, need assistance with pet food. You can go to the pet food that we do in joint pet food drive with a pet food bank with Second Harvest Food Bank of Metrolina. And we've been doing that for almost 2 years now. So there's a lot of help that we provide the community. And the one little stipulation is that we have to do these programs without the help of our budget that we get from the city. That goes for our operational cost. These programs we rely on grants and public or private donations.
So tell me, Melissa, we've been talking about dogs, cats, some exotic animals. What about livestock?
If you come to our shelter right now, we have a barn. A lot of people don't realize we have a barn.
Really?
We have to respond to, we call it large animal. We have a large animal response team. It's a section of our officers that are trained to handle the larger animals.
Whoa.
We have 6 horses out there right now. We have about 3 goats. We have a pig. We have a duck, a couple roosters. Again, you're never going to know what you see when you come to animal care and control.
So it's not just dogs and cats.
Right.
You have everything.
Yeah, we're responsible for everything. We are not, however, responsible for wildlife. We will respond. That's one of the things that's nice to mention. A lot of people don't, they think it's crazy that they see coyotes, and I get a lot of calls from the media. Did you know there are coyotes? There are coyotes in Charlotte. They're wildlife. There are, yeah, they are, and generally they're more afraid of us than we are of them. You know, that type of thing. But we're not allowed, because it's the jurisdiction of North Carolina Wildlife. So we're not allowed to come out to a sighting of a coyote. We will come out if there is one that's acting weird. What I mean by that is, could it possibly be rabid? If it attacks your animal, if it attacks you, or if it's causing harm or anything like that, then we can respond to wildlife. Otherwise, we're not allowed to respond to wildlife.
Whoa. So do you need a special permit for livestock animals?
You do.
Oh, you do?
In the city limits of Charlotte, there are different things that you have to apply for. There's a certain amount of land that's required per animal if you're going to have livestock or chickens. We have that information on our website. You can go and you can download the application for a permit, and one of our enforcement supervisors is in charge of that, and they come out and they inspect your property, and they talk to the surrounding neighbors to make sure that no one has a problem with it. And again, it's different requirements for different types of things, for chicken coops and that sort of thing.
Within the city limits?
Yeah. It's interesting, the amount of people applying for permits to have their own chickens has increased dramatically over the last 2 years.
Really?
I think a lot of people are going to the sort of more green approach and wanting to be more organic and that sort of thing, and so we've definitely seen an increase in that.
You know stories about people that have 18, 19 cats, 10 or 12 dogs. Do you need a special permit for that?
Absolutely.
Oh, you do?
The rule is that if you have 2 or more animals that reside outside the home at all times, and it could be a combination of dogs and cats, you do need to have a special permit if they're outside all the time. And again, that would be something that you could apply for. The other thing is that, you have to maintain a certain situation. If we get a call on someone that has 15 cats in their home and there are complaints that there's possibility of odor and that sort of thing, then we'll investigate it. And Department of Agriculture can get involved too if you call yourself a rescue, or there's certain types of permits that you need to operate businesses and 501c3s.
If a person by chance lost their pet, like I have a dog, his name is Samson. If by chance he got out of my backyard, I have a fenced-in backyard where he can run around. If by chance he got out, and sometimes he does, and he's lost.
I can't hear that.
What do I need to do if my dog is lost?
The first thing that I would definitely do is I would ask you first, does he have a microchip?
I don't think so, because I got him a long time ago.
Okay. The first thing that you need to probably go out as a pet owner who loves their pet is to get a microchip for your animal. You can do it at your vet, or we offer it. That's one of the other outreach programs we do. Low-cost microchips for $10.
I need to get one.
And we do that. Again, go to our website, check our events page. It will tell you where we're going to be, and we go all over for that. We do them sometimes at Bark in the Park. This weekend, we're going to be doing it at a really neat little thing that's a dock diving competition, and so we go all over to do those. We do that because if Samson was out and we picked him up, guess the first thing we're going to do is we're going to scan him for a microchip. If we find the microchip and it's registered for you, and we have your phone number, we call you. We don't take him back to the shelter. We call you and we say, Cynthia, we have Samson, and we need to bring him home. We'll give you a warning, and we'll say, hey, you need to figure out where he's getting out of your fence so he doesn't do it again. But we're not going to cite you with a ticket, because you know what? We don't want to do that. We want you to have him back. The goal is for us to rehome as many animals as we can, because that keeps them out of the shelter. It saves taxpayers dollars. Every animal that comes into the shelter has to be vaccinated.
Oh gosh, and that can get to be very expensive
and it's stressful for the animals.
Right.
You know, they've got to ride in the van, they've got to come into our processing ward, which is full of animals that are barking, and it's stressful. So the microchip is the best answer for that, and all of our officers carry them in the vans with them, and that's the first thing they're required to do is scan all the animals.
I just learned something today. I will take care of that. Most people think that you just pick up stray dogs. Do you ever pick up any other stray animals?
Again, we respond to wildlife calls. If it's something where there's an injured deer or a raccoon just attacked a dog or something like that, we can respond to those types of things. So we can respond to snakes. This is interesting. We can respond to snakes that are inside your living quarters of your house.
Oh, really?
If there's a snake in your backyard, we're not allowed to respond. If it's in your crawl space or your attic, we're not allowed. But if it's in the living quarters of your home, then we'll come and take care of it.
But snakes, for the most part, if they see humans, they go the other way, don't they?
Yeah, but everybody's afraid of snakes.
I'm terrified of them.
So when you see it in your house, it's kind of a problem.
Oh, my God.
You want somebody to come and help, for the most part, unless you like snakes. And there are a lot of people who do have snakes as pets. And that's, you know, that is against, there's certain ordinances that talk about snakes, and you have to make sure you know what the ordinances are for the county about the size and if they're non-venomous or non-venomous, if you're allowed to have them or not.
You know, there are a lot of ordinances out there, and I'm glad that you mentioned them. What are some of the other ones that people need to know about?
Probably like you mentioned, and I joked with you about if he got out, and don't tell me I don't want to know that he got out, it's leash law. That's probably one of the biggest ones, and a lot of times it's accidental. That's why if it's your first offense, we're not going to cite you with a ticket. We're going to give you a warning and say be careful, you know. Because a lot of times they're frequent offenders. Like I like to call them dogs that we see coming back quite often into the shelter. I call them frequent flyers. And the reason that is because they probably are somehow escaping the fence, or perhaps they're door dashers, is what we call dogs that like to run for the door as soon as it's opened.
Like mine.
And so those are the types of things that if you keep letting it happen, then it becomes a problem. You know, not as dangerous for your animal because it could be hit by a car or something, but not all animals are friendly to everyone. So that's the things that, you know, leash law violations, and the nuisance calls are a big one of what we get, and that's basically someone calling and saying my neighbor's dog barks all day and all night and I cannot stand it anymore. And what we can do is come out and do an investigation. A lot of times it's hard to prove because a lot of times dogs bark at things that are walking by. That's a dog being a dog. It's one that just constantly barks to bark. And so that's a really hard thing to prove, but it can be done. And so that's a big call. We get a lot of dogs defecating in other people's yards. There's all kinds of calls that we get. It's amazing what we respond to.
Do you get many calls about dangerous dogs?
We do, and there's a process for that. Again, it all depends if the dog's out running the streets and aggressive calls. The time that we respond to calls also, it matters when 311 puts the call into dispatch. It makes a difference in how much time we respond. If it's an aggressive dog call and it's chasing people, then that moves to the top of our priority list. So the person waiting on us to come about a nuisance call is going to have to wait a little bit longer because obviously it's not an emergency call.
And how do you handle animal bites? Because dogs do sometimes bite people, and I'm sure the other animals do too.
Right. Dogs do bite. Other animals bite. And every dog is a possibility of biting. Everybody thinks that it's the bigger dogs that bite, but any dog in any given situation could bite. The requirements are by law, if you go to the doctor, you're supposed to report any bite.
Really?
You're supposed to report any bite. All hospitals and doctors' offices, if somebody presents with a dog bite, is supposed to report it to us, and then that gets sent to us, and we will call you to come and do a bite report. The reason that's so important is because we have to make sure that the dog is valid on its rabies vaccination. Otherwise, it could become a public health issue.
So when you say the rabies shot is valid, do you, like I take my dog to my own personal vet, is his information linked to yours?
It is. They're required to report all of the rabies vaccinations to us, and that way we know, and you'll get the cards from us possibly seeing that you need your pet license from Mecklenburg County. I will say that, I know that a lot of times the economy has been hard, and a lot of people can't, like we were talking, we started the food bank because we started seeing an increase in people surrendering their animals, and these were their family pets. They didn't want to give them up. They just couldn't afford, a 60-pound lab is a lot it costs a lot to feed that dog. And so they were bringing those in, which is why we created the food bank. The other thing is, a lot of times, you know, you might not be able to afford that week or the yearly visit to the vet.
Right.
And it is super important to do that. But if you don't have it in your budget to do, come get your rabies shot from us. It can really be, and I sound like I'm on a soapbox now, and I am, because it can mean the difference of the life or death of your pet. If it would get attacked by a rabid raccoon, and your dog's vaccination is a day out of date, then you're going to have to make a decision. Either we're going to have to euthanize the dog, or we're going to have to quarantine it in an approved animal hospital for 6 months, and it can cost upwards of $3,000 to $5,000 to do that.
God.
And your dog sits in there and does not get human interaction. You can't go visit it because it's being quarantined because it could possibly have rabies. It could have contracted it. So a lot of people don't understand how important that rabies shot is. It's not only important for the protection of your pet, but your family. If your dog's out there wrestling with a raccoon and it comes back and you feed it and the kids touch it and stuff, you're exposed.
Oh, really?
So it's so important. It's so important. I can't say how important the rabies vaccination is. All of them are very important for the life and health of your pet, but the rabies is a very big one, and we do them for free.
You do with the community to help you with the animals.
Well, we have, I'm so glad you asked, because we can talk about our volunteer program. We offer, through CMPD, you become a volunteer with the Charlotte-Mecklenburg Police Department, and you can choose many options to volunteer with them, and a lot of people choose animal care and control. And we're very blessed by that. Right now we have about we average about 275 volunteers, and they help with everything. The community stuff that we talk about, these off-site adoptions, these microchip clinics, we could not do all that unless we had the volunteers. And you can do you can do one task, or you can do 20 tasks. You can come and walk dogs, you can come and interact with cats, you can help us do paperwork, you can help us design brochures, you can bathe animals, you can foster. And that's another big thing. We have a program called Critter Sitters Foster Program. And at any given time, but especially during the heavy puppy and kitten season, which is in the spring through the fall, where we get lots of litters in, they're too young to be adopted out. So if we don't have foster homes for them, you know, unfortunately we can't keep them all at the shelter. So we put these animals into private homes, and at any given time we can have about 100+ animals off-site in private homes.
Oh, really?
And if you're a volunteer, you're eligible, or if you're a city employee, you're eligible. And it truly saves lives. I can't express how many lives are saved through fostering, and it's so important.
I'm going to ask you a stupid question, but I wanted to know, do you have an animal hospital on site? And if you do you have a vet there that takes care of the animals?
We do have a shelter veterinarian, Dr. Mary Blenn, and she's been there for 20+ years. And she is our staff veterinarian, and so that means she handles a lot of the stuff. We also have a veterinary technician that's over all the other vet techs, and she has a lot of great background. Here's what's interesting. We can handle small emergencies, but we don't have x-ray equipment. We don't have big surgery suites like a veterinary hospital would, so we can treat minor injuries. Now, here's a really neat thing. I'm glad you asked this, because what happens when a golden retriever hit by a car, broken leg, no identification, no microchip comes in? In years past, we do not have, again, the surgery suite or the tools needed to repair that. It would be an orthopedic surgery. We don't have that there. So in years past, unfortunately, that great dog who's friendly, wagging the tail even though it's hurt, we would have to put it to sleep because we couldn't fix the leg. Now we have a program called Second Chance Medical. And that program is funded by private donations. And all that money goes towards helping cases that come in like that. So this golden retriever comes in now, we send him off to a veterinarian, he gets the surgery, we put him in Critter Sitters foster care so that he recovers with a volunteer or a city employee for however long it takes. Then we take him to South Park Mall, adopt him out, and find him a new family. We've helped we've raised over $80,000 to date, probably helped over, we're probably about 250 animals through that program now.
Do you have, well, I asked you this before, if you have a vet there, is this person a full-time or part-time employee?
She's full-time.
She's full-time. And what other things are you doing with the community? Like, do you have youth involved in some of the things that you're doing?
We do. I could talk to you all day about the great stuff that we do. Just really so proud to be part of this organization, because I really feel like a lot of people, again, you know us because we gave you a ticket or something, but you don't know that we offer all these other things too. So I want to get the word out that, we're not just taking your animals if we find them, we want to rehome those animals. We really do. And the neat thing about the youth is we have a humane education officer. Her name is Officer Julia Connor, and she has therapy dogs. She goes into about 5 nursing homes a month with the therapy dogs. There's 3 now. One's in training. There's Ebony, Copper, and let me think what the Topaz is the new one. And those dogs also, she teaches bite prevention classes. And what bite prevention classes are is they can be geared from a toddler all the way up to an adult.
Oh, really?
And what that does is it teaches you what to do if you come across an aggressive dog, whether you're a child that's playing out in the street, not in the street, but out in your yard with your friends, an aggressive dog comes, or if you're a postal carrier and you're going door to door, or you're DSS, or you're, Meals on Wheels, and you're constantly going into houses, we teach you what to look for to know if there's a dog that lives there, like worn paths along, yards. And then also if one aggresses you, what do you do? Do you run? You don't run.
You don't run?
You don't run. That's the worst thing you can do. So we teach that to the kids, and it's an amazing program. And I guess, to kind of cap that off, is that we got a lady, she came up to Julia at an event, and she said, you taught my son bite prevention at his birthday party. And I just want you to know that saved his life. A dog came and aggressed him, and he got into the position you told him to get into, and instead of getting a bite to the face or, a place like that, I think it bit him on his back, which was a lot better than an attack to the face. And she's like, if you hadn't taught him to do that, he would have never known. And so it's a tribute to Julia and this program. It reaches a lot of our youth. We go into the schools, to the churches.
Oh, that's
we
good.
do tours. If you want to do your child's birthday party, come to the shelter. We'll give a tour. She does a class. You can see all the exotics we're talking about, and it's free.
Oh, Melissa, we could go on and on talking about these animals, and you've given us a lot of valuable information. But if anybody wants to know more information about the Animal Control Center, where do they need to go again?
Go to our website at cmpd.org and click on Animal Care and Control.
And if they want to call about an animal, they need to call
311.
311. And if you want more information about animal care control, you can go to my website at www.abettyhughes.com. And stay tuned every Wednesday at 6 p.m.